The Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Retiring in Illinois, it's sort of an interesting proposition because on the one hand, it's a third world state. On the other hand, at least you don't get your retirement income taxed. You know, we got that. That's the last thing we got going for us.
Do we have a death tax, though?
Well, yes. Well, that's the problem, too. You can't die here. You can retire here, but don't die here.
Don't even think about it.
You got to thread the needle. For details on some strategies beyond just don't die here, I think we need a little bit more layering than that. Tim Stearns joins us. He's the president and founder of TJ Stearns in Arlington Heights. He's also the host of Protect and Grow, Chicagoland Retirement. That show airs on these airwaves Saturdays from noon to 1. And he's joined by his partner, financial advisor, Sean Valentine, as well, who will be making sure that Tim colors inside the lines. Yes. Tim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's like, yeah, you got right up close to that microphone so we can hear you.
Right up
close. Closer.
I said we should do a mic check, but nobody.
Closer. I mean, you got to be like here. Let's try that.
Hello. Can you talk? Is that better? Here, why don't you come on over here?
No, here it is. There it is. We got it. Talk again.
Check one.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. It's a technical workshop in here. Okay. All right. So Tim, we're staying, we're leaving. What are you advising? And in either case.
Well, one of the things that we're doing with a lot of retirees, and we're seeing, if I'm walking on a street and I ask someone what they have for retirement, they could tell you probably within $50,000 what that is. Mm-hmm. Okay. But if you ask them the next follow-up question, which is, what do you think your taxes will be in retirement? They have no idea. And that's with the tax bill that's currently in, which is a lower tax rates, right, that we've seen since the 1980s. So one of the things we're offering to people on our show, and then we did a workshop last night, is that we have a website, www.mvpcfp.com. And on there, you can actually put in your information, and it prepares a report for you to show you exactly what you think, what we know the taxes to be over your lifetime. It's a really innovative report that no one's doing.
So what is the average payment over a lifetime?
It's scary.
That you're gonna
it's
pay?
Absolutely scary because what you're going to have happen is, let's say I have $1 million in my IRA or 401k, and then I'm going to have to do my required minimum distributions, right? So I'm going to be paying taxes on that. And then a lot of times what you're seeing with people who are over the age of 73, they don't use the money. So they put it back in another vehicle. Now they're paying a second time in capital gains and that type of thing. And then lastly, because of the Secure Act, which the government did to us again, now you have to drain all of your IRA accounts within 10 years if you're not leaving it to your spouse. So you have 3 taxes there, and it's about 2/3 of a tax is what we're seeing on average. So on $1 million, it's about $600,000.
Oh my God.
Unless you do something to fix that, and that's what we're talking to people about.
Well, so then, give us a sense of what some of the strategies are to minimize that exposure.
Well, for example, Roth conversions would be one of the things that we're doing a lot with people. I'm also telling our clients that are currently working, look into your Roth 401ks, Roth 403bs, that type of thing. Because right now, again, income taxes are the lowest they've been since the 80s. So why not take advantage of it?
What about just following Pritzker and putting them in tax shelters in Bermuda or the Caymans?
Well, that's not usually available to everybody, right. But there are tax shelters.
I've heard that.
For example, like life insurance with living benefits for long-term care and that type of thing that we're doing with some of our affluent clients, another way to avoid taxes legally.
That's like some of the things to do to get ahead of retirement taxes. Is there anything else that you can recommend?
I would definitely tell people to look into their options on Roths and that type of thing. And the Roth conversions right now are a hot button. The other thing we're finding with baby boomers is that they're very concerned about not having a plan. So we do our Protect and Grow plan, and with that comes tax analysis, right, to figure out how are we best going to do that, to your point, Amy, get ahead of it.
Well, and then also, too, to get a sense of, like, what what's my monthly or annualized spend? What I got to stay within a particular budget, so I need to know what exposure I have and what sort of latitude I have on monthly spend, right?
It's unbelievable how much people think that they're going to not spend as much in retirement, right? And the other thing I ask, regardless of party affiliation, last night we spoke to 40 people in Schaumburg, and we talked to them about taxes, and they all raised their thumbs up that they think taxes are going up in the future.
Sure.
Right? So when we do this protect and grow plan, we are figuring that in there to make sure that people understand, that $10,000 you take out a month, it's not going to be all yours. Uncle Sam is going to take his cut.
Well, and not to mention, too, I mean, things that are, you have to sort of make some contingency planning. I mean, for example, if you're going to continue to own your home here, even if it's paid off, how much should it's almost like self-insurance in like a hurricane zone. How much should I be insuring or saving for property tax exposure? I mean, we all know the story of seniors getting essentially taxed out of a home they own.
Right. You're seeing that a lot in Florida, too. And that's happening here in Illinois as
Right.
well, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. And so, I mean, so that's part of the conversation about, thinking about where you're at and looking at trend lines and saying, you better plan to sort of squirrel away this much for your exposure on property taxes, on income taxes. And
Well, I'm born
everybody who's got their hands in your pockets.
Yes. And, I'm born and raised in Chicagoland, in Arlington Heights, so I'm well aware of
Yeah.
what I've seen with property taxes as I pay them. So one of the things that we do when we're looking at the full ball of wax, what do they have going on? What's going in the house? Social Security guarantees, something like that. God help us, right? And also what's going out
Gonna
the
run
door.
out, I heard.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean that's one of the things that came up last night, and we addressed that as well.
Well, also, too, I mean, the healthcare costs, long-term healthcare you were just mentioning, too. I mean, thinking about that, what if I need to be in an assisted living facility at some point, and what does Medicare cover and what doesn't it cover, and what kind of policy should I be thinking about for that potentiality?
Well, you have a 7 out of 10 chance over the age of 60 of needing long-term care, and 9 out of 10 of those people have not addressed it. And that's one of the things we push on our clients to make sure that they're understanding the cost that goes in there. Average nice retirement home is about $300 a day, and that's going to eat into your principal pretty quickly if you don't plan ahead. And you think about it, 7 out of 10 people are going to need it, right? And 3 out of 1,000 people are going to burn their house down in their time, and they would not do without home insurance, right? So why would you not, 7 out of 10 chance that you're going to need that, address that 800-pound gorilla?
Yeah, you're talking, and that's a big number, too. You're talking about 9-10 grand a month.
Absolutely.
And if you want to be somewhere nice, and you don't want to, you don't want to be somewhere not nice.
That's why I'm nice to my kids, so they don't put me in a
my
place like that.
Exactly.
You can tell them what your wishes are.
Exactly, and hopefully they'll abide by them.
So what is the conversation, too? I mean, the other thing that we started out mentioning a bit is estate taxes. And, of course, Illinois has for people that have substantial estates. And Illinois has estate taxes and other states don't. So how does that, how much of that is part of your daily conversation with clients in terms of, I want to stay here to be near the kids, but I got to establish residency somewhere else, or I'm going to fly the coop by, age certain to make sure that, the state of Illinois doesn't get their hands on my estate.
Well, what we're seeing with people who are actually staying in Illinois is we have a state attorney on staff, and we also have a CPA. But we're seeing that people want to level out their estates. The husband and wife would have about equal rights to try to avoid some of that estate tax that they have for the state of Illinois.
Yeah.
So those are things that we're getting ahead of with people. I'm finding a lot of advisors are money managers, but they're not planners. And being a certified financial planning practitioner like myself is a whole different ball. You need to make sure you get the whole thing.
How long have you been a financial planner?
30 years.
Wow.
So I'm old.
And
52.
Botox? No.
52 years old, no Botox.
it's impressive.
You should grow a mullet like Dan.
You
does.
look great. Yeah. Well, the Joe Dirt thing sort of keeps you young. Sort of that wild spirit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're really
Yeah.
working with the ladies too, I see.
Yeah. What about sort of the investment strategy we're focusing a little bit, a lot on the cost side and things like you were saying, sort of alternative investments like life insurance with benefits. But what if you do have a little money to play with and you want to move a little bit further out on the risk plane, but not too far? I mean, you don't want to, put 80% of your assets in Ethereum, for example, but you want to do something more than just be content with T-bills and life insurance.
Well, one of the things I just finished the book, The Holy Grail of Investing by Tony Robbins. And one of the things that's talked about in there is to have 7 alternative investments. If you have 7 alternative investments besides your stocks and bonds, you will reduce your risk by 80%. According to Ray Dalio, who's one of the
Bridgewater.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of the hugest hedge fund managers ever. So I'm going to take his lead, and that's what we have been trying to do for years with our clients. We're not all in stocks and bonds, right? We're going to be in alternatives that will, when the market gets crazy like it did last week, they're covered. And that's part of having that protect and grow plan. Protect, but grow it.
What is the best state to retire in, financially speaking?
Well, I think Dan would say Florida.
Yeah. Well, what would you say?
I'm seeing Tennessee. A lot of
Really?
people are going to Tennessee. The Carolinas is another great place.
Mm-hmm.
The weather and then the taxation and that type of thing.
Yeah. Not Illinois is
No.
That's not one of the things.
That's not one of the leaders in the clubhouse.
I'm obsessed with this, but does every state have a death tax?
No. Florida doesn't.
No, it does not.
There you go, bragging
For example.
We see
example.
a lot of people going down there for 6 months and one day to
Right.
establish residency.
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, Tennessee doesn't have a tax, state income tax. They don't have a state tax either, do they?
No, they do not.
Yeah. See, it's amazing that these states can get away with it and still have like schools and police forces and so on and
They're
so forth.
actually functioning.
For some
Right.
reason, we
Compared to our
can't do it
school.
here. It's so strange. Tim Stearns, president and founder of TJ Stearns in Arlington Heights. The show, Protect and Grow, Chicagoland Retirement, that airs Saturdays from noon to 1 p.m. right here on 560 The Answer. Tim, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate
Dan
it.
and Amy, thanks for having me.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Dennis Prager. If you share my passion for free speech and rational thought, become a member of the ultimate online community, Pragertopia Plus. Listen to every show, lecture, and course I've recorded. Plus, you can now hear my colleagues, Mike Gallagher, Seb Gorka, and Hugh Hewitt. Submit your questions for my monthly Ask Me Anything, really anything. Plus, chat with me, Alan, and Sean with the new live chat feature. Go to pragertopia.com.